and we are ready to move over to our serger and serge our neckband on. We will be stretching our neckband just slightly to be the same length as the neckline, but not stretching the neckline itself. To begin serging your project, I always start at center back. Ensure that you are starting at the seam on the neckband and that it is placed on the back of your garment. A common mistake is to sew your neckband on backwards and have the seam be in the front. Lift your presser foot and slide your garment under the presser foot. We'll be sliding on to the neckband with a kind of curve as we begin serging. We will be sewing this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we will be removing the basting stitch with the knife on our serger. You can see here that I'm following along the line of my basting stitch with my serger knife. We will continue to serge around the neckband, lining up the free edge of the neckband with the neckline, removing the basting stitch with your serger knife. You can see here in this picture the portion of the neckband that I am removing, and here up close how the basting stitch is being cut away by the serger knife, and I am using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Following along the basting stitch helps to keep your neckband an even width all the way around. So simply serge all the way around, smoothing your project frequently to ensure that the neckline is smooth and not folded. Continue serging until you go all the way around the project, reaching the point where you began. When you reach the point where you began, you will ease off at an angle similar to the angle that you eased on when you started. So cross the point where you started. Once you have fully crossed the point where you began, simply curve to ease off of your sewing. Chain off 4 inches and cut your chain in half. And your neckband is attached and you have done it. We are now going to finish off our serger tail. I showed you earlier how I use this tool, Knit Picker. I am now going to show you how to use a tapestry needle, as most of you will have one of those available to you. I simply trim the end of my thread and fold it in half. As the eye of the tapestry needle is larger and can accommodate a larger piece of thread, I fold the serger tail in half and thread it through the eye of the tapestry needle. I then sew into the line of stitching to weave the serger tail into the stitching, securing it in place. Sometimes you need to grab the serger tail with your fingers and work it through the rest of the way, and then you can simply trim away any excess. And your neckband is finished and attached. We now need to block press the neckband to ensure professional results. This final step is optional, but I think it is very important. I make sure that the seam allowance is facing down into the bodice of the garment, and I press all the way around the neckband. Ensure that the seam allowance is facing the right direction, and with your fingers, smooth out any puckers or wrinkles. You don't want to iron the puckers into the garment. You want to smooth it out, pulling just slightly until it is smooth and straight, and then press to hold that shape. If you want, you can use straight pins to pin your garment down to the ironing board to help hold it smooth and in shape while you press. After pressing, let your garment fully cool before moving it, and it will help hold your neckband into the perfect shape. And you have completed your project, and you are ready to wear your garment with pride.